Commissioner Scott,
Present.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Here.
Commissioner Marecki,
Here.
Commissioner Kinlock,
Present.
Commissioner Anderson,
Present from Livonia.
Vice Chair Bejun,
Here.
Chair Varga.
Here.
You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Knew her, particularly here in Detroit, where she is well known. Also, her fans were
Next
Could
item,
we have everyone put on mute except for the commissioners, please?
gravely ill, and in fact was continuing to plan to make music and continue music.
I'm sorry, Chair, I'm trying to find that individual.
Okay.
Next item, item B, Chairwoman's remarks.
I have none today. Next item, please.
Next item, approval of the minutes of the January 26, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Anderson.
So moved.
It's been moved. Any corrections? Any discussion?
Hello.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Item D, unfinished business, there is none. Item E1. Requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2021 35031 certifying revenue in the county park fund.
Madam Chair, move approval.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I may, this is Huey Newsome, Chief Financial Officer for the county. This particular one, yes, the administration was this now.
Breaking up.
You're breaking up.
Okay, let me try it again. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties, but the administration would like to table this particular budget adjustment. The sale is not, we're not quite ready with the sale to bring the sale forward. And what we like to do is once the sale is finalized, then request that the budget be adjusted.
Madam
So
Chair.
would it
move
be
to
okay
table.
with you if we just sent it back?
That would be fine. That would be fine.
Do you want to keep it? Yeah, I'd rather not keep it at the commission and table it and bring it back. I'd rather send it back to you.
No, Madam
As
Chair,
maybe the, I'm
Sorry,
sorry.
Madam Chair.
Send it back. Yes,
Yes.
Mr.
Andrew.
Candrivas.
hi, thanks. Sorry that I'm having a hard time communicating here. Andrew Candrivas from Wayne County Executive's Office. Madam Chair, I expect that this, the underlying contract for this will come through soon. I don't know if you want to send it back anywhere. You might want to just pass for the day and have it come up in 2 weeks, at which time there may be, the other document, the other contract for the sale may be ready. I don't know, and I don't want to step on Mr. Newsome's toes, but I would just hate for it to get kicked back to the department if it didn't need to.
Okay, so the monies, the question then becomes the monies will be the correct amount for us to fund according to the contract that's going to be coming in front of us in the future. In other
Yeah,
words,
correct.
this will cover the contract.
That's my understanding. That's correct. And if anything changes, then
Okay,
if anything changes, we'd obviously pull it at that point and untable it and pull it.
Madam Chair,
okay,
Madam,
yes, Commissioner Dobb.
no, this
I
is
think it
Mary.
was.
No, sorry, it's Mary Carr. We currently do not have,
Mary Carr.
yes, we currently do not have the contract with us. It was returned to the department to correct some stuff. So we're not sure when we will receive this contract for the Neforio Wilcox contract. So we can hold the budget adjustment in the commission side or we can return it to the M&B department. It's at the pleasure of you.
Okay, let's hold it then. Let's hold it then. What would be the correct motion? I think we have Felicia with us.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So you have a few options. You can pass it for the day, which means it'll automatically come back on the, appear on the next agenda. You could table it, but then that means you would have to have a motion to remove it from the table before you can consider it. Or you can do nothing and it'll appear on the agenda as unfinished business at the next meeting.
To that point, Madam Chair, Felicia, if we pass it for the
Yes.
day and it comes back up on the next meeting, how many times can we pass it for the day?
As many times as this commission or committee desires. There's no limit.
Andy, do you expect that we might have something within 2 weeks on this item?
Through the chair, Ms. Commissioner, I do not know. I know that Parks and Economic Development have been working to get this finalized, and I know they're right there. I'd never heard that there were any problems with it, but I cannot speak as to knowing that it will be here in 2 weeks. I'm not sure, but I just did not want it to come back to the department. It just creates more possible complications. So if you can keep it on your side of the house, I think that would be preferable.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to pass it for the day and we'll see how it, 2 weeks from now, what happens, I guess. That's my motion to pass it for the day.
Okay,
Support.
I'll accept that.
Support, Mareki.
It's been moved and supported. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Kinlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Baydoun,
Yes.
Chair Varga,
Yes,
motion carries. Moving to item E2, requesting commission approval of budget adjustment 2021-35053, certifying revenue in the capital projects fund.
thank you. Could we have someone talk a little bit about this one too?
Yes.
If,
Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me?
yes,
Okay. Yes, this is a,
Yes.
how you doing? The chair, appreciate having a chance to come before you this morning. We're here to actually talk about.
could you please identify yourself?
I'm sorry. Dwayne Sills,
Could you
Wayne
please
County Clerk, Wayne County Clerk, Deputy Wayne County Clerk,
thank you.
Chief Finance Officer. I'm also here with the Wayne County Clerk, Ms. George, as well as Chief Deputy Clerk, Ms. Waste. This particular
Okay.
budget adjustment for
Welcome.
thank you, welcome. This particular budget adjustment for $350,000 is the use of fund balance. It's to pay for our capital improvement plan. We have our cash hearing system. We're actually in the process of putting a new one in. So every year we kind of move this money over. We haven't had a chance to spend the money. And it was never moved over at the beginning of our fiscal year. So we're moving it over now.
Madam Chair, I will
Okay.
move for approval.
Okay, any discussion?
Commissioner Kinlock, support.
Commissioner Anderson? Okay, Commissioner Anderson.
He's muted.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to ask a couple of quick questions. Does this have anything to do with the CPL scanners, or the fingerprint machines and everything that's needed to get that back in place and everything going?
Commissioner Anderson, through the chair, no, this does not. In fact, I think we're going to discuss that after this particular budget adjustment. This is strictly for our cash hearing system right here, to upgrade as well as the equipment and to get in a new system that's been outdated for a number of years now. But no, we're gonna, I guess, the clerk is here to discuss that later, your question.
Okay, but this is also going to give you some upgrades to the department for the record maintenance system that you'll hopefully be able to use to increase the accessibility of that information for the staff?
Well, not this particular. This is strictly particular is that when someone comes in and actually pay for something,
Okay.
we have to run that through our system. It has to go through also to the state, and then we also send it over to the county and to their JD Edwards. So
Okay.
the system that comes in and we run that we have to have here.
Okay, I'm just curious as to what it is actually going to be applied to, but thank you.
Understand, right.
Thanks. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Under other comments, we will go back to the clerk's office and we'll discuss the several items. So
Okay.
right now we're just dealing with item 2. It's been moved and supported. Any other discussion? In that case, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Scott,
Yes.
Commissioner Baker McCormick,
Yes.
Commissioner Marecki,
Yes.
Commissioner Kinlock,
Yes.
Commissioner Anderson,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bajun,
Yes.
Chair Barba,
Yes.
motion carries. Moving to item
Thank you.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Thank you. Under this, I would like to bring up something that we talked about during the last budget that we passed. We were not able to get into that budget, the call center for the clerk, but there is an understanding that they will be allocated X amount of dollars for a call center, and we did have an agreement for 4 personnel to be hired at that time. So I would like to get an update from the clerk's office, Madam Clerk, on where we are. This is one of the items that is going to be in this year's budget as soon as we do a budget adjustment for you. And then some people will have some questions on the CPL. So I would like to turn it over to you, Madam Clerk, Ms. Garrett.
And all others on this call, in reference to the call center, that was prior to the last budget approval. However, since then, we've been through a major election, as you all are well aware. So attention was diverted to deal with the election. But on the same token, we were doing our due diligence to find that the treasurer has a call center. I felt it was best not to recreate the wheel. Therefore, I scheduled with the treasurer at his availability for the staff and myself to go over and assess his call center. What I found through that is that his staffing levels are 12 staff members. However, because of the COVID scenario, he has, am I echoing?
That's what I'm trying to stop. Hang on.
I'm sorry, just a minute. Due to COVID, he's down to 6 staff members, whereas that made me immediately think that we were being a little short with requesting 4 because the treasurer is a one-issue office, even though they have different levels to it, in comparison to all of the different services that the clerk's office provides. So 4 was the original. If that's all we can get, I will be grateful. However, I think based on what I learned with the treasurer, 6 is a better measure. So at this point, we've, again, not to recreate the wheel, I've had my team talking with the treasurer's IT team. Dwayne has come up with some numbers as far as what we would need, and pretty much we're just waiting for things to move. Are you there?
Okay, when will that letter, the request go over to the CFO then?
Today? Yeah, no later.
No later tomorrow.
No later than tomorrow.
Okay, could you please copy me on it too, so I can, keep me in the loop to make sure that, we're living up to what we had promised you.
Yeah, and I think kind of in a sense, it might have been a big error, but I thought the CFO was going to get back with our office, and especially being that, again, this is something that already happens in another elected's office. But you will get the letter tomorrow, and you absolutely will be included.
Madam Chair?
Thank you. Well, I can only speak for myself, so, in our committee, so we're here to make sure that we pick it back up and move it forward.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Kinlock.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Kinlock?
Yes, to the clerk, through the chair. Will that request be for the 4 or the 6? Is there, and to the chair, is there room for the 6 persons to be requested?
Well, Commissioner Kinlock, the way that I work is I always ask for more than I'm going to get, just in case someone is going to be generous. But we did, at
So we
the time,
we want 8 then.
but knowing that we had worked out and guaranteed pretty well 4, the expectation would be that we would start with 4, and the budget in Wayne County is fluid, and we can make adjustments as we go all through the year. We can add money, we can take money, we just have to find where we get the money from if we give. And so with that, I definitely would put a hard number on 4 and ask if there could be room for more. That's my take on it. Commissioner Maraki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Clerk, if you get these 4 people, how, like right now, people are calling me saying they can't get their CPLs. I think it's December. So it's the end of 21. What kind of movement do you see happening that that we could back up a few months with people getting these? I mean, what do you see like the flow happening with the CPLs if we do get the 4? Does that make sense?
Good afternoon, and I'm glad that you asked that question, because I was going to ask a point of privilege to be able to hopefully paint the picture to the commission and whomever else is listening that the call center is absolutely needed. However, that is not going to resolve the overall problems that are over here. So whenever I can transition into, and we'll just talk about CPL today, but whenever the questions are done and I'm given the floor to explain the anatomy of the CPL processing, then hopefully that'll give you a better picture of what we're dealing with over here.
Okay, thank you.
Feel free, Madam Clerk, to talk about anything you want. We have the time to listen to you and we're interested, so you can take that option if you wish.
Okay, that might be risque, but okay. First of all, this has been a long-standing concern and an obstacle to service being rendered in the clerk's office up to my standards, and it being fair to the staff as well as the customers. Pre-COVID, I requested of Commissioner Barga to come over as well as the CEO came over to just ask them to take a look at the square footage that we lack in the clerk's office. So pre-COVID, customers were able to just flow in at their own will. Of course, due to CDC standards, we have to schedule appointments, and our someone's phone is, someone needs to mute because I'm competing. Okay, so now with pre-COVID and us measuring out based on CDC standards, I just want to give you a few numbers, and since we're dealing with CPL, we'll do that. So the standing area for customers, as well as the for the inside, we're dealing with 253 square feet, which affords 4 customers at a time to be inside the office. Then outside, the square footage only allows for 10 customers to stand out there. So you look at it's a square footage issue, it's a staffing issue, and then I'd like to move forward with explaining to you the processing of a CPL. I know that the questions have been floated to Dwayne, who is new over here. The clerk has been here 20 years. So just as a courtesy, if nothing else, any questions, please feel free to call me. So you look at where we're at right now. So the questions have been asked, well, do people have to be fingerprinted? No, you don't have to be fingerprinted here. You can go to your local police agency. However, you still have to come in and apply here. And it's not a drop and go process, which means you still would have to schedule an appointment, because what happens when you come in and bring your application, you have to bring that certificate saying that you've been through the training. You have to bring a valid ID, and you have to take an oath after that application has been looked over. So that can't be a drop and go process. Once that application is given, we have to have, and again, it's 5 staff members in the CPL division. The largest county with the highest volume of CPL requests, 5 staff members are in there. So once they do all of that incoming process, those documents have to be scanned into the system to go to the state, and there's other auxiliary type duties that have to happen. However, along with that intake at the counter, there's letters for revocations that have to be printed and mailed out. There's letters for suspensions that have to be printed and mailed out. There's approval letters that have to be printed and mailed out. So that's another leg of it. Then once the state approves those permits, it's someone that has to, print a letter out to go in the envelope that is with your permit, and then they have to print the permit out. And I just asked for some quick numbers where we're at as of January the 28th until now. So case in point, and this is not what will be the end of the day. There's 80 renewals, there's 1 suspension, there's 24 denial letters, there's 27 revocations, and there's 1,074 permits that have to be printed and mailed out. And they have a total of 100 customers that they are seeing today. 5 staff members and all of these different processes that must happen. So that's just a snapshot of hoping that when you get those calls, that you understand what's going on over here, because what happens when you email or call me, then that is counterproductive, because I will personally go to the manager or one of the staff members, ask them, can they look through the scheduling system online, see if there's been any cancellations where we can plug these people in? Or how about this? Would you do me a favor if you just hang back from your lunch and schedule this person during this time? Or how about this? if you just stay a little late and get this process. So I don't ever want either of you to think that it's not people over in this clerk's office that are being very diligent about their daily job, but it's just the fact with everything plus some other things that I just told you, that's why you're getting the phone calls. And some of these things, as I said, are pre-COVID that I have requested and made an issue of. So that's where we're at. Absolutely, we need the call center because, again, those 5 staff members just in CPL, they can't grab the telephone, service 100 customers in their face, as well as all of those other processes that I shared with you. But what happens is that, and if they're your constituents, they're absolutely mine. I'm countywide. So they call you, then it looks like you made it happen as if the clerk and her staff is trifling, where you just don't understand the process. Now, I don't know if I summed everything up, but that's the long and the short and a truly abbreviated version of the anatomy of what it takes for the CPL division. Any questions? I'm happy to answer them.
Yes, Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
In a second, Commissioner Baker McCormick was next, and then I'll have you, Commissioner Kinlock.
If it's in reference to what she talked about, he could go ahead.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Commissioner Kinlock.
Yes, Madam Clerk, you said that these issues, these staffing issues existed pre-COVID. Was there ever ever a plan to address this, submitted to the executive or to the commission to speak to staffing levels or how to remedy these persistent timeline or timing issues and delays?
Every budget year.
Commissioner Kinlock, she's been begging. She's been begging us every year.
Every year. Every year. I could just push play. Every year. And I really think that it wasn't until COVID that the commission and some of the other offices, elected offices, say that I haven't been crying wolf. It's just the difference when we didn't have CDC guidelines, the floodgates were open and the staff was getting more and more stretched and worn out. Well, now we can't do that. People are calling the commission, the treasurer, and whomever else, and we're getting the phone calls and text messages, which I do what I can do to accommodate them. But this is nothing new, Commissioner Kinlock.
Okay. As the budget has been stated that it is fluid, I'd just like to ask the chair, do you think this this situation, because we have, I'm new here, but I've also received those emails. Do you think that that there's a sense of urgency that warrants us to take a look, whether it's hiring temps or whether it's to permanently add some FTEs to her department to address this? Because it's only going to get worse, especially as we continue to get these emails regarding how long out or far out these appointments are.
And if I may, Commissioner Varga, if I may, is one piece of light at the end of the tunnel that I forgot to mention. Because of the CARES Act, and even prior to COVID, I mentioned about when you go for your TSA approval. When I went for that maybe a few years ago and they fingerprinted me, I was taken back that there is a fingerprinting machine that is like the size of a battery or maybe a little less, that sat right on this gentleman's desk. So long story short, because of the CARES Act and me sending some visual aid over to the CFO to show that we're functioning from one fingerprinting machine here in the clerk's office, which is not CDC compliant because the customer and the staff person are right up on each other. So as of today, We've gone through all the red tape. We've got the fingerprinting system. The training is starting today. I think all of the IT, the firewalls, et cetera, all of that has been done. So praise God, I'm willing to happy to let you know that as of today, the training starts. So what do I expect out of that? Is that, okay, instead of the one fingerprinting machine, now you will have 4, which will speed up the process of us being able to fingerprint people. Then what we have done in other cases when they got backed up, the staff has went in and looked, and they come in on Saturdays and help clear that calendar out. So that's the bright side, what's happening over here right now. The greater issue is the lack of square footage. We've outgrown this office over here, but that's it.
Thank you.
You're
To
welcome.
answer you, Commissioner Kinlock, I had a discussion with the CFO yesterday about the space over at the clerk's office and any assistance that they could give us to look at it, to see what they could do to relieve this, especially as we live today with the COVID-19. So they are open for discussion, and that is the reason why I brought it here, because we want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to try to assist the clerk the best way we know how. And so with the CPL, with the screening now, or with the fingerprinting now, 4 people can be inside from what you tell me, but you also would need more staff then, or would you be able to social distance? You wouldn't even be able to social distance with more than 4 people anyways, even if you had today.
Commissioner, the 4 people could be at the counter, and then all of those back-end processes that I explained, there's maybe 4 or 5 cubicles that those additional staff could sit in and help do the back-end work. But now you have them flipping from the counter.
I'm sorry, how many staff could we give you in order for you to sufficiently catch up, whether it's full-time, part-time, however you do your staffing? I'm not going to tell you how to or suggest, but how many would you require? Because right now the appointments go all the way out to December. So evidently you do more people to come in to help catch up. And then not only catch up, we know that nowadays more people are going for their CPLs. And so could you shed some light on that one?
4 would be, due to, again, the space limitations, 4 would be perfect. So since you said go bigger, we want 8. So 4 would be perfect, Commissioner.
Okay, so you would need 4 for just the CPL, and then it would be helpful if you did get the 4 for the call center to start it out, and then we could work from there. Would that be something that would be amicable for you today?
Absolutely, absolutely. As long as you're saying that the door is open to revisit it down the road. And,
well, we're going to start a new budget pretty soon. We're going to start a new budget pretty soon. So I think you probably will need your staff's assistance to start crunching numbers as to your demand for the next budget.
Yeah, we're already on it, but 4 would be great.
So Madam Chair, are we talking about a total of 8 new FTEs, 4 for the call center and 4 to address the CPL operation?
Correct.
So
And
what's
that's
the
only
number behind those? So what's the number behind it?
The number?
Are you asking as far as the cost?
Cost.
Cost.
And we're looking at clerical specialists. We need higher skill set.
That's what we use. Okay, so it looks like for the 4, with the fringes, now it depends on, are the 4 permanent individuals, permanent employees for the call center, that's running about $200,000 with the fringes included. Now the other 4 for the CPL.
And how much?
Excuse me?
How much total?
So that would
How much total?
Okay, for the one, it'd be $200,000 for the call center, and approximately another $200,000 for the CPL. So approximately $400,000.
Let me ask real quick, and then I'll go on to other committee members. Do you have your eye on somewhere in the building where you could have space? Is there space available at KMAC?
Oh, I'm not aware if it's available here, or I doubt it though, or over at 400 Monroe, but that's something that we absolutely can research, because as you know, the birth and death for Detroit is over at 400 Monroe.
Yes.
So if there was space over there where the entire county clerk's vital statistic division is in one location, and then if you visited our location at 400 Monroe, it's set up more like a Secretary of State, where there's room for the customers to sit down instead of this tight space over here.
Okay. There was one question. I'll come back to it. Hopefully I'll remember it. Commissioner Baker McCormick was on the next, and then Commissioner Daub.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This question was in reference to when we last talked. You said that there was an issue with the attorney. I was just wanting to get an update on that. The Board of Canvassers, the election commission, and then the clerks having the same attorney. Was that situation resolved?
20 years later, no, it wasn't. And that's something that I have raised since 2001,
That's something that I would like to, I would like to address that at a different time if we could, Madam Clerk.
That would be fine.
You have 2 asks right now, and if we muddle the waters, it's going to be even worse.
Well, I was just getting an update, because the last conversation that we had is that the situation was being worked out. If you recall, Commissioner
They didn't
Varga.
get it.
So
with the election commissioner Baker McCormick, we had to sojourn on through and just deal with what we had at hand. And all I need to say is that with the last election that we just went through.
Okay.
Priorities had to switch.
I understand. I do. So it's not resolved, and Madam Chair, you're saying that we need to have a separate meeting about that again?
I'm saying I didn't bring that up today. I wanted to deal with the CPL, and I wanted to deal with staffing issues, as these are the very crucial, in my opinion, that we committed to. One was the call center, and I wanted to make sure that we followed up on it. And we were going to honor the clerk's request to make sure that she gets her call center. And the CPL was secondary, but it was just as important because it was a newer issue, but it has become sort of an emergency type situation that we must deal with. And so the other issue will have to hold until the next budget process.
Okay, is that a budget related item? I'm not sure how
Yes.
that.
Yes, it is.
It is a budget related. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It's another personnel.
We will raise it at the, I guess, during the budget hearings. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Madam Chair, make sure I understand what we're discussing. We're sending a letter for the 4 call center, as well as there's some minor equipment that we have to buy too, though, that I think the county's already into a contract with AT&T for the equipment. And also send in for 4 also extra CPL employees as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
I would like you to do 2 separate requests. One that is already agreed upon, and that was the call center. Whatever you need for the call center, keep it separate from, and then what you need to fully staff the CPL center as well. And that would be a separate request that I will work with, in our committee will work with the CFO and administration and you on. So we'll probably have other meetings on that. And that's something that's going to be new.
All right.
The next question I had was, I'm sorry?
I was going to point out that you know that the line is continuing to grow each day. So we're trying to move as fast as possible. We even looked at as far as like for the CPL employees, we have some that are trained, that's already been working off and on. Like maybe we can make those temporary employees at first, just so that we can move fairly quickly to get them in. So we don't have to go through the whole hiring process of looking for permanent employees.
How you do your hiring and how you do the work in the clerk's office is up to the clerk, how she handles it. All I have to know is the needs in writing.
Okay.
All I need is the needs and the dollar amount in writing to make that happen.
Okay.
And I don't presume that anybody else knows what the clerk wants to do and how she wants to do it. So our major thing is the budget. You're welcome. The question that I have before we go on is I remember what I wanted to ask. Is there a part of the state law that you think should be tweaked that would help you on the CPL?
No, because even with the tweaking that they did do, what was that, like 2015, the year, yeah. What they did, the work still comes here, but the revenue shifted to them. So I'll revisit that mentally, and if I think of something, I definitely will request to come back. But right now it's about space and staffing.
Okay. We have on the list Commissioner Daub and then Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Commissioner Varga, for allowing me to ask a question, even though I am not on this committee. And thank you, Clerk Garrett, for agreeing to appear on my committee tomorrow of government operations to also have a discussion about this topic. But I just wanted to ask one thing, since we were discussing lack of space. Is there any way we could set up some sort of temporary location? I don't know if the county has any resources. It doesn't have to be downtown, but maybe somewhere, Wayne, Livonia, that you could set up like a satellite remote office, just to kind of like get through this backlog. Is that an idea? Would that be possible?
I think again, well, let me address what you said at first. I am going to I'm not going to be available tomorrow. I will be attending a funeral service of a long-term friend and employee of the clerk's office. So they switched the time of the service, so I won't be present tomorrow. Dwayne can come forth in my stead. Now, moving on to the next part of what you said, no, that's not viable. For number one, staffing. Again, we have a satellite in Westland, but again, due to CDC standards and staffing, that is closed until further notice, because again, the square footage, as well as we don't have the staff to cover here and be out county or wherever. I've had 2 satellite offices, but such as other things have changed in the world and in the county, that is what's happened, and we are operating here. So that was a long way of saying, no, that's not a viable solution.
Okay, but if we were to find you a space that is large enough to comply with the CDC guidelines, I understand the Westland office is pretty small. Would that be possible to set up your staff there to work remote just temporarily to get through?
I can't commit to a hypothetical, and the fact, again, we don't have, if you were to find it tomorrow or next week, it wouldn't be doable because I don't have the staffing levels to send anyone anywhere else but right here, where we have 100+ customers a day for CPL. And this is just talking about CPL. I'm hoping to come back before you so that you can get a greater understanding of what's happening in elections and what's happening in our other vital division where the marriage license, etc. But I don't have the staffing to send anyone anywhere else but right here, all hands on deck.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chair Varga.
Thank you. Sure. Anytime. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just either our clerk or Dwayne, maybe either one could answer this. What would we see improvement in if you could give us a look at what you expect with what you've asked for? Are we going to shorten that time frame? I know you're still getting a request for the CPLs, I'm sure, daily. I'm getting a number of calls on marriage licenses, people trying to get their marriage license straightened out and so they can go ahead with the ceremony, as well as death certificates. So I'm just wondering, can you tell us what improvements you will be able to make with these added changes and added personnel?
I think we would be able to see that once we get it. That's hypothetical. Of course, the intent is always to have greater improvement, but we're not there right now. So how could I tell you or commit to until we have what we need, or at least a greater staffing level than we have now? So I'm sure you do get calls. The fact of the matter is, as I just stated, it's no different in the other areas. It's the same scenario, and it's not new, as Commissioner Vargas shared. I've been saying this since 2001. So your question was hypothetical, which I cannot commit to something that hasn't happened yet to tell you what the expectations are. Of course, it's for improvement. That's a given.
Well, okay, all right. I guess that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'm so looking forward to the next batch of COVID dollars coming from Washington. Hopefully that will help some of our finances temporarily, at least COVID related, so we could get caught up with some of the work and services that that we need to give, because understandably people still do get sick and have sick days and those, so I know it's hard to deal with, and I appreciate all the work that you do. I have on the list Commissioner Martha G. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me
We can
now?
hear you. You're on mute. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, over in Greektown, where you already have an office, you said there's probably some additional space over there. Would that be more presentable since you already have an office over there?
That would be great, Commissioner.
Okay, so maybe staff can check and see how much that would cost, because I think that would probably be a little bit better since you already have a staff over there.
Right, but and you're saying as far as additional space?
Yes, for additional.
Right, shifting KMAC, the office staff here over to where is it, 400 Monroe. That would be perfect.
Exactly. Okay. Well, then perhaps that's something that we need to look at right away.
Dwayne is on it.
All right, Dwayne. Thank you. Because I know in my 10 years, you've been asking, you know.
Thank you. At least it didn't follow total deafness.
Okay. All right.
Just to be a little fair, and the reason that the move was probably not as favorable because we have to pay for the KMAC, I think, whatever portion, whether we use it or not. So that's why I think they were trying to keep as much services over there as possible, but they have outgrown it. Is our CFO still online?
But if there's not enough space, Madam Chair, we do need to look at that facility.
For sure.
Thank you.
Is our CFO still on?
And if I may, Madam Chair, also with that being the case, as you're well aware, the court division of the clerk's office, where for civil it's over here in KMAC now, they have to stay where the court is. However, we have operations in the basement or lower level, whichever you prefer, here in KMAC, our e-filing, our file room. Then we have the ninth floor. Just the point I'm attempting to make is, even with that being the case, it might be that some shifting could be done here where whatever space is left, the square footage might not be that expensive if it was an overage, or how do we know if they might want it in this building anyway? We're probably in the way in some cases. But we will look into all of that. Dwayne is on it.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. I can't commit for the administration, but we definitely will try to work with everybody to see how we can help. Commissioner Anderson.
Just wanted to add to what you had said a few minutes ago there. I think there is going to be considerable space opening up in KMAC, and if there was a way to temporarily handle the issue with space in KMAC, it would behoove us to save the money rather than moving everyone over and create another expense as far as lease space over at 400 Monroe. But that'll be, I guess, something we'll have to look at. But I still believe that we need to we are going to be paying that rent or our portion of the money for KMAC, even if it's sitting vacant. And that's something we have to think about. That's all. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
There's going to have to be a, let me finish real quick. There's going to be a reorganization, I'm sure, of the space after the new jail opens up. And so we have to find solutions in the meantime that will work for everybody. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
I was just searching for a point of clarity. I'm not certain which commissioner that was that just spoke, but what I processed out of what he said is because of the rent that the county would still have to pay here in KMAC, if the office was to move to 400 Monroe, am I understanding that's the consideration over the complaints that are coming from the constituents and the commissioners, and the fact that the service here is not to the standards that I feel they should be based on, again, the lack of space? So is that what I'm understanding? I just didn't want to leave the table not understanding. Is that what was said? Because just let us stay here.
That's not what he meant. That's not what he meant at all.
And in all my getting, I search for understanding. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, any other committee members who would like to discuss these two topics? Okay, there is none. Thank you for coming online today, and feel free to send me a note, text me, whatever. And
I have a quick question,
I'll have
if
you
I
back
may.
again anytime you want. Sure.
Quick question, Commissioner. Okay, so we see the urgency here. We see the urgency. You all will get the letter no later than tomorrow. Can you give me some type of time frame when you all will move on your part?
Well, as soon as we get the okay from the administration, we have to do a budget adjustment. The budget adjustment, I would presume, would come from the administration. As soon as we get that, we will definitely put it on the agenda for the budget adjustment, and then we'll go from there. I'm sure they will work with you on the logistics of it all.
Okay, and my final
we'll
ask.
bring it back for discussion. We'll bring it back for a final discussion.
Okay,
Go ahead.
My final ask is, when you, the commissioners, get those telephone calls, maybe you can explain to them or just let them know what's going on over here instead of just contacting us to fix it, where again, it puts a bad light on these hardworking employees over here, and as well as the county clerk. So give them some insight, as I've given you, as to what really is happening over here, and that we're waiting for greater space allocation and more employees, and I would greatly appreciate that.
Thank you, Madam.
I believe I can speak for all of us members. We never try to make you look like the bad person in this. I always say that we are living in very difficult times right now, and I would never, I never say to them that you're doing something that you're not. So if we can resolve it, it's not because I resolved it because of my call. is because the clerk was able to get to it even under difficult circumstances. So please don't take our phone call as something negative from our constituents towards you.
From
I
our
can promise you
constituents.
that.
And I'm not taking it
Our
that way, but
constituents.
right.
Okay.
But and if there's nothing said, then impressions are what they get. And so, but I'm just asking for those that are willing and know the truth, just please look out for the clerk and the hardworking employees of the county clerk's office and shed some light. Educating is important. And then I'm very accessible, that you don't have to contact Dwayne. You don't have to call, you could call me, or better yet, my email is just as accessible as yours is for our constituents to contact me. And that way I'll deal with it.
Well, maybe what we ought to do is just send it to you and then you can forward it on to Dwayne or whoever you wish to.
And I get involved myself, Commissioner. I call constituents.
I know you do.
Yep, so you can forward it to me and you can copy Pat Ways and Dwayne or however you want to do it, but let us handle it.
Okay, I will put the word out to make sure that it's sent to you, even if David or even if Dwayne is CC'd on it.
And I have a chief deputy, Patricia
Or vice
Ways. So the three of us, we will get it done. And that way you don't have to even engage in it, just forward it.
Okay, if I could ask for you to just real quick send the information that you want us to forward it to. I know it's you and we have Dwayne's. I'm not sure if I have your deputies, myself.
Okay, we'll send it. We'll send it to you. Thank you.
Okay. And I'll forward it to all of our members so that way they have the same information. So, well, thank you for your time today and your patience. And just because we talked about it doesn't mean that we might be able to fix it all. But I would like to just talk about go back real quick to the call center and see if Mr. Newsome is still online to talk about that portion, because that portion was something that we agreed on right at when we passed the budget.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr.
Madam Chair,
Newsome?
I'm still on the phone. Yes, ma'am. I'm still on the phone. I'm still here.
Okay. Could we put this one at least to bed, that the 4 individuals that we agreed to for the call center and whatever it takes to get it going, will a letter from them, from the clerk's office, asking for the amount, and what else do they need to send you in order to make this happen?
Well, I mean, I can't commit until we see it, obviously, and see the full letter and make sure that it
Right.
the requirements of the budget, and then I also have to, confirm with the county executive as well, county executive's office. So I will put it on the front burner.
Sure.
I will commit to put it on the front burner and make sure that it is that it goes through all the proper channels. And I should, I think it's reasonable to expect an update in next Ways and Means Committee.
Okay. Madam Clerk, you're okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, sounds good. Step 1. And Mr. Newsome will talk offline a little bit, maybe in a day or two, about perhaps doing something with the other items we talked about today.
Sounds good.
Madam Chair, if I may, Mr. Newsome has been very helpful and accommodating to the clerk's office, especially again in this past election that we just went through. So I just wanted to say publicly over Zoom, thank you, Mr. Newsome, for your support.
My pleasure. My pleasure, Madam Clerk.
Well, great. We appreciate him too. We love working with him. Very professional, very knowledgeable, and personally very friendly and nice.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Down to earth. So we appreciate it. Go ahead,
No, I was just saying, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate
Mr.
that.
News.
Oh, am I
Oh.
on mute again?
Well, you're
I
welcome.
was saying thank.
Hello?
I think we lost Madam Chair.
I think so too.
I was thrown off. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item G, public comments.
Everybody, do we have any emails?
No emails have been received.
Wait, Madam Clerk, did we vote on the last item?
Yes, we did. Item 2.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, go ahead and read the email.
I said there have been no emails received.
Oh, okay. Is everyone unmuted?
Yes, everyone has been asked to unmute themselves.
Okay, is there anyone in the public on Zoom or on phone who would like to make a comment, public comment? I'll ask again, anyone in the public wishing to comment? I hear none. Next item.
Item H, adjournment.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Support.
Been moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Let's go.
I don't want to leave you yet.
That's too many eyes,
Okay.
Martha G.
We're adjourned. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.